Okay, we're here with our Period 2 Honor Statistics class. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe at the bottom, all right? Excellent. So, you're already here. Thank you very much. We should have already typed in all of our data values for these Super Bowl scores for 25 Super Bowls. And I'm going to show you how to make a histogram, right, out of these data values. Yes, Catherine? Yes, I'm really recording. Thanks for doing that in the middle of recording. All right. So, what I want to show you first, because this is more of a simple version of a histogram, it's called a dot plot. I'm going to hit dot plot, type in dot plot, parentheses, capital A. And you might be thinking, but Mr. Bradrick, nothing happens. Well, here's why. So after you type in dot plot of A, you guys see the little wrench that's to the upper right-hand corner. It says graph settings. It's a little wrench right here. I don't know tools, but I think that's a wrench. Okay? So you click that. Do you see where it says x-axis? Right now it's going from -10 to 10. But our numbers don't go from -10 to 10. So I believe our lowest number was somewhere in the 20s, maybe? All right, so I'm going to go 20. And I think our highest number was somewhere in the 60s. So I'm going to go to 70, and you should see the numbers start to appear. All right? Now, I don't like the grid there, right? Because this is not a course of pre-calculus, calculus, algebra. So we're not graphing functions. So I'd like the grid to go away. So where it says grid, it has a check mark. I click that, and the grid goes away. And I also really don't care about the y-axis, because again, this is quantitative data. So I'm going to just click that, and that should go away. Okay? Any questions so far? So now you should be able to see that each of the data values you typed in is there. This is called a dot plot. I would say this one is not as exciting as a histogram. So I'm going to type in histogram of A. It is pretty cool. Now you should see that we have a lot of gaps. Why do we have a lot of gaps right now? Why do you think we have so many gaps when our data really isn't that spread out? Range? It's not the range, Jarvis. I like the idea. But there's something, if you look underneath histogram, where it says dataset, comma, bin width. Does everyone see the bin width? If you don't type a bin width, it uses 1. So if you go back in those parentheses and hit comma, then you can tell it how big the bins are going to be. So if I hit 2, it's going to make them wider. If I make it 3, even wider. 4, even wider. And 5, and I like 5. And you know what? I'm tired of those dot plots, or the dots, so I'm going to just close the dot plot. Now you can't really see that left first bin, so I'm going to change this x-axis to 15. 15. So I went back to my little wrench in the right-hand corner and made my x-axis the lowest value, 15. So now you can see everything. Okay? Now the moment you make a histogram, all right, I am done with my histogram. The moment I finish, my first thought is about 3 things. 3 things I got to describe about this histogram. Who's got it? What are the 3 words I told you had to remember from yesterday? Cameron? That's exactly right. Shape, center, spread. Shape, center, spread. Shape, center, spread. Shape, center, spread. Who? Shape, center, spread. What? Shape, center, spread. Where? Shape, center, spread. Why? Shape, center, spread. Stop. So shape, center, spread is what you want to go through when you make a histogram. All right? So what are some of the ways you can describe the shape of a histogram? Who's got some words to describe a shape? You guys remember some words from yesterday? Unimodal. Skewness, right? Left or right, skewed left or right, if there's a tail going in a direction. Anything else? My favorite one. We could do bimodal, not my favorite, but I like bimodal if there were 2 humps. That's my favorite one, Jarvis. Roughly symmetric. And when I look at this, when I look at this histogram about these Super Bowl scores, I see one main hump in the middle. So I would say it's unimodal. I mean, it looks roughly symmetric. I don't really see any kind of like skewness or tail going in any other direction. So the way I would describe this would be unimodal and roughly symmetric. So I'm going to take out my pen, and if you have your notes from yesterday that I passed out, those examples, you can follow along. You don't have to. And what I'm going to do is right here underneath the data values, I'm going to write down that this is roughly symmetric and unimodal. So this would be describing the shape. Any questions so far on this histogram and the shape of it? Everybody good? Okay, now, after you describe the shape, the next word is center. How would you describe the center of this histogram? What do you think? What's jumping out at you from looking at this as the center? 45. 45, I agree, Charlize. So I'm going to write down that the center is around 45 points. Now, right now, I'm just guessing, which is why I said around. But what are some measures of center that I'm going to use soon that are exact values? The median or the mean, all right? Those are the two options. We'll come back about which one we're going to pick. All right, so the median or the mean. I'll come back and write those in. Let's talk about the spread. When you look at this histogram, what do you think about when you look at the spread? How spread out this is. So what did your brain just do, David? You did a quick little range, like you think the range is 45. I would actually personally write, it looks like it goes from about 20 points to 65 points. Again, I didn't give an exact value, like the exact range, but what were the two measures of spread that we talked about yesterday that you should care about? Anybody? That's the range. That's the one I don't care about. It is a measure of spread, but not one that I actually use. What are measures of spread that I use? IQR. What does that stand for, Charlize? Good try. Try it again. Interquartile. Very good. Perfect. Interquartile range. And what's the other one? The standard deviation is the other one. Very good. All right, so we're going to come back once we have those numbers. Any questions so far about making the histogram and describing the shape center spread? Okay, now it's going to get real fun. Here we go. So we've done a great job making our histogram. Now we're ready to actually get some statistics. All right? What is a statistic that I'm interested in learning about this data? The median. Someone type median of A. And look at that. It's 44. So you should go to your notes and write down the median is 44. And when I look at what we used for the center, it's pretty close. We said it's around 45 points. Look at that. The median is 44. Now, if I found the median is 44, I would love to compare that to what? The mean. Very good. So I'm going to find the mean of this data value. And the mean is 41.92 points. So a little lower than the median, just a little bit lower. But nothing too far away where I'm thinking, oh, maybe there's some kind of skewness or something pulling it far away. So it's pretty close. Those are measures of center. What about some measures of spread? The IQR, the interquartile range. Who knows what the interquartile range is, if I wanted to calculate it? What is IQR? How do you do it? Okay. Put possible outliers, right? We don't know. They might not be. So this is, the desmos is going to put them in order for us, right, Jarvis? I don't have to do any of that. It's the middle 50%. You do quartile 3 minus quartile 1. That's IQR all the time. Commit that to memory. You'll need that forever. Okay? Quartile 3 minus quartile 1. So if we're going to do IQR, I need those quartiles. So let's get them. So you're going to type in quartile. Now for this one, all right, you need to put a number. All right, so you have a, comma, and then you need to put a number. Which one do you want first? 3. Sounds good. So you put a, comma, 3. So you're saying, hey, give me the third quartile. Look at it. It's 51. So quartile 3 is 51. And we're going to subtract quartile 1, which is 30.5. Very good. Now, you guys can all do that mentally, but in the future, if you wanted to, you could write quartile a, comma, 3 minus quartile a, comma, 1, and it will do it for you. All right, that's what's up. That's really nice. All right, so there is the IQR. It's 20.5. So the IQR is 20.5 points. Now there's one more measure of spread that we can find using Desmos that I care about, and that's the standard deviation. So this one is STDEV of A. So STDEV for standard deviation. You notice that one is 12.9 points, just under 13. So standard deviation is 13 points. Okay, the last question I want to do about this material with the Super Bowl data values is if you describe the shape of that histogram as roughly symmetric and unimodal, what measures of center and spread should you choose? Think back to yesterday. All right, I put it on that board that's to the left of David and Daisy when she was here. Catherine yelled at me because I put it there. Did we say skewed to the right? Did we say skewed right? Charlize, what did we say for the shape? We said unimodal and roughly symmetric. So what am I going to pick for the center and spread? What am I going to pick for the center and spread? That's exactly right. So mean and standard deviation. Okay? If you describe the shape of a histogram as roughly symmetric and unimodal, you are free to choose the mean and standard deviation to describe the center and the spread of your data. What if it's not roughly symmetric and unimodal? What if it's something else? Let's do the order correctly. You would do the median and the IQR for the center and the spread. Again, that is going to be definitely tested on Monday on our quiz, and going forward, you will need to know that as well. Yes, quiz Monday, you know it. And IQR. Remember, they're linked. Median and IQR are linked. Mean and standard deviation are linked. Are there any questions about this process? Because I'm about to ask you on your own to do this process with some different data. Now, if you have signed into Google, all right, for Desmos, you can go over or go up here and click Save. And it will save it for you. All right. If there are no questions, then I'll go ahead and sign out here. All right, thanks for listening at home. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe so you get all these fun videos for this year in Honor Stats. Peace.